Hi, everyone. I'm here with Andrew Weitz, creator of the Weitz Method. Currently on Kickstarter. You can check us out using the link below. And I'm sitting here with Andrew Weitz just to have a little bit of an interview to ask him some questions about his career and kind of what led him to create the Weitz Method. How's it going, Andrew?
It's going fantastic, Hannah. Great to see you, and thank you so much for your expertise. Everything is just fantastic. As I keep checking out step by step everything you do, it puts a bigger and bigger smile on my face. So thank you.
Well, it's only because I believe in it, and so do a lot of other people. So,
Thank
first, I just kind of want to ask you a little bit about your background and your career and kind of what led you to want to teach music.
Well, I'm going to have to give thanks to my first best friend, which was my mother, and she taught me great respect for especially good-hearted life and how to defend yourself against not so good.
Hmm.
But more importantly, she gave me that compassion, Hannah, and I believe that that was a big part of observing how many people of all ages, as you know, you've listened to in a lot of the testimonials, who really wanted to learn the piano. And the traditional method that I do love and respect and studied, was scaring them away, as I voiced before. So it was really a compassion to want to bring them back to this lovely instrument, which I call my friend.
Mm.
And she is, she's healing in so many ways. She puts smiles on people's faces in so many ways. She's the king and queen of all instruments, in my opinion. So the piano is my way of trying to give it as a gift back to so many people who ran away because they thought it was just too much time, effort, and money to learn this instrument. And that's really one of the main incentives behind me creating the Weitz Method.
Excellent. So, when you started playing piano, I know you have had quite a career as a professional musician before. You kind of transitioned into teaching. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, major blessings. Of course, it's I could write 5 books, and people have asked me, would I consider doing some books? And I said, well, at another time, I will. So I say that because we don't have a whole day or 2 days for me to begin. Well, let me begin so to kind of sum it up a little bit, Hannah, it was really leaving I think it was 1980, 1985, 1986. I left with $2,000, 3 telephone contact numbers, and I landed in the middle of Germany in the winter, not speaking the language, to really go over and check out the music scenes in 3 or 4 countries. My plan was to stay and investigate 3 or 4 different countries, London, Germany, etc., the music scene. And I wound up staying over there with home base being Munich, Germany, and Paris, France, but more Germany. And after 2 years, the first 2 years of struggling, well, let me make the long story short. Step by step, the successes began to roll in, and I managed my own career there. Wound up staying there for probably around 14 years. And the accomplishments, the hit singles, the performances for presidents of different countries, audiences anywhere from 15 to 75,000. Great success with great sports organizations like Bayern Munich and writing them their anthem, and on and on and on. And so the success built with myself as an artist, a performer, as well as a producer. And so it was wonderful. And I relocated back here in 1998 and back to America, which put also big smiles on my face, back to home, another home, my first home. And I've been here in Los Angeles, lovely Los Angeles, since then. And so that led into really after a few years of just enjoying producing and picking and choosing the projects that I wanted to do, it led into giving back and teaching. So I then decided to start teaching. And I think I had this was 2001, maybe 4 or 5 chosen students. After 3 months, word of mouth put me to 50 students on a waiting list. So I guess I was liked. And that's when I began to just think about the Weitz Method and easy ways to teach this. And so I went on the journey of 6 or 7 years to receive a patent on it. And that was a journey in itself, as other people who seek patents would agree. But nevertheless, it's quite a wonderful accomplishment. People have given me satisfactory satisfactory applause. Let me choose those words in knowing what the style is, what the method is, and of course, based on the results that it brings. To learn the piano and play your favorite song with chords and melody in the first 2 hours is inconceivable. So as Dionne Warwick, one of my dear friends and world-renowned artist, said, it's a miracle wrapped up with a beautiful heart.
So kind of coming off, you were talking about some of the struggles that your students were experiencing that kind of went into you creating the Weitz Method. What were some of the biggest struggles that you were seeing in your students?
Well, especially pertaining to the traditional method, the struggles were the standard lines and spaces, ledger lines, the notes that are above or below the normal 5 lines and spaces, but all of the mathematics that go behind the time signatures, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, or the fractions of them, how to properly perform them as the metronome ticks back and forth on the downbeats, keys and key signatures, remembering to sharp or flat notes. The abundance of rules and regulations and guidelines pertaining to the traditional method has scared away millions of people of all ages, and I definitely understand how it can do that.
And so when you talk about the traditional method of learning piano, for those who haven't really been exposed to that, you mean the way that students would normally learn, and that they'll learn kind of how to read the music and then go into maybe some simpler songs, and then kind of it goes from there?
Absolutely, Hannah. What it is lines and spaces and time signature and key signatures, whether it's Mary Had a Little Lamb and it's your first lesson, or it's Rachmaninoff's concerto, as an extreme examples, it's still the same frustration. It's still the frustration of having to figure out what that note is on that line or space, and even worse if you have to count up or below the normal 5 lines and 4 spaces, and then remembering to sharp or flat, remembering to over and over and over to make sure you get the timing down. 16th notes connected to a quarter note, connected to 32nd notes. I mean, it's mind-boggling, and it's not easy. It's really not easy. And many people who have studied the traditional method, as myself, will definitely, in all honesty, admit it is not easy, and very understandable how that can scare people away.
And so do you find that a lot of your students did they come in kind of more frustrated because that was what they were used to seeing or had been exposed to in the past?
All of them came in frustrated, and all of them were referred to me because there was this talk that was beginning and going around town that there was a piano teacher, musician, who was, pretty successful and had a lot of accomplishments, but nevertheless developed this miraculous method where people could play their favorite songs in the first hour or two. And so this just with the first 2 or 3 students, then the word of mouth that went around from people they knew, that they came in droves. That's where in 3 months it was 50 students with a waiting list, because people said, well, I'll check that out. It definitely sounds like a con. It sounds like it's not possible, and I'll check it out. And that was 15, 16, 17 years ago. And I just kept it to myself. I just kept on using it and fine-tuning it. And seeing the smiles on people's face, whether they were 7 years old or 90. I had people call me and say, well, I studied piano for 2 years. I can only play Mary Had a Little Lamb. It got so frustrating. Other students coming. My son is 8 years old. He's studying the traditional method, and he's losing the love of music. I was referred to you because you're fun, but you're firm, and you have what is called a miraculous new method of notating music and teaching style. And so many came to me, as we hear in the testimonials, and then of all ages. I've had people come to me who were referred to me who had major issues, where they had handicaps, where they couldn't see lines and spaces, or other people have had surgeries or brain surgeries, etc. And my method made it possible for them to finally adjust and begin to learn the piano without all of this frustration. So, yeah, I've been looking at nothing but smiles on people's faces, and I've never seen anything shy of a big smile. And that's right after the first hour. They get it right after the first hour. They go, oh my God. Why does the schools and the scholastic system, why the scholastic system doesn't teach this? And I say, well, you know, we have tradition, we respect tradition, and the traditional method is wonderful, and it'll continue to go on. And the nice thing about the Weitz method, Hannah, is that for people who just want to play the piano and not make a profession out of it, well, then they can stick with it for their whole lifetime. As examples of Dick Van Dyke, the very famous Dick Van Dyke, and his sister, Diane Johnson. 8 years she studied, and just the Weitz method. And the wonderful thing about it is it's so simple that in the lessons themselves, they're like a practice with the teacher, you know, even if it's a video or live. And so you don't have to have hours of practice, and the results come. So it's so easy that it even eliminates the so-called hours of practice that is necessary. It's not necessary with the Weitz method. And so I repeat, I just keep looking at smile after smile after smile, and it begins in the first hour and it never goes away.
I think it's really easy for a student to feel kind of powerless because they're just sort of given all this information and they're learning, you know, maybe material that they're not super passionate about. So with the Weitz method, not only is it for everyone, but everyone gets to kind of tailor it to their own, you know, what they like as far as being able to choose what songs they want to learn.
Yeah, a good point. Absolutely. Because what's more fun than, number one, choosing your favorite song and not being forced to play a style of music or a particular song? So I don't believe in that. So I definitely support the students choosing their favorite songs. And that ranges from classical music to Mary Had a Little Lamb, and all styles of music, all styles of music. And so that's a great joy. And then once they see how simplified the Weitz method is, then you put those two things together, and that has spelled great success in all ways, emotional as well as, because, you know, talk is talk. And then results are results. So yeah, talk is cheap, and I get it. But this has been years of results of all ages, and I challenge anyone of any age. Give me 1 hour, 2 hours, and I will prove it. You know, so it doesn't require proof any longer. But it comes with a guarantee. The Weitz method comes with a guarantee. It's been proven, and it is miraculous, but it's still real.
Fantastic. I think you've given us some great information about the Weitz method and about your background. And, you know, if you've seen this interview and you want to be part of this amazing movement that's going to change the way people learn piano, you can do so by going ahead and clicking on that link below. And we look forward to the future of the Weitz method. Thank you so much for joining me, Andrew.
All right, Hannah, thank you very much. And I want to say thank you to all of the people who do see this and do want to get involved. One big thank you from Andrew Weitz.